Hey, how you doing? It's Kurt with the Powersport Academy. And if you see me on other channels live all the time, uh, do not discount this channel yet. If you are in power sports, marine, RV, automotive, any of those things, you may find interest in what we discuss here. However, we will be focused on power sports. This is the Powersport Academy. So, uh, dial in. We are finally launching this thing, and we're going to launch it the right way. For years now, we have had the Power Sport Academy. We have offered training. We have tried to gently bring people into our sphere of influence. We have tried to be delicate. There are times where I have dropped a hammer and said, this behavior is ridiculous. We're not going to get ahead. We're not going to be a better group. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. I've tried so many different kinds of ways to look at what we're doing here with the Powersport Academy. And I think I need to be like really honest with folks and say, yeah, I got to admit, a lot of things didn't work. A lot of things didn't work. Why won't dealers invest in their staff? That's like the first thing. And I say it a lot. Why won't dealers, on the whole, invest in their staff? And then I started to come up with they don't understand the pain points. If they don't understand the pain points of what the Power Sport Academy fixes, why partake in the program? If they don't understand the benefits, what's in it for them? If they don't understand, hey, what's in it for me? Why would they participate in the program? And then finally, we made inroads with a 20 group organization. These folks are amazing. You might know them as Hero Hub. You might know them as Dealer Hero. But Jared and the team are amazing folks. They've got a really strong 20 group organization, meaning with a high level of participation. And we have been able to launch cohorts in partnership with Dealer Hub, Hero Hub, and make this work. Folks, as we progress through this cohort and we go through the content of the Powersport Academy, there have been things that we have looked at, and we've looked at ebbs and flows. And I want to share some of the successes and some of the weaknesses we've identified and how we're going to strengthen those weaknesses moving forward. More importantly, people that are not in these circles, people that are in the industry but not aware of what we're bringing to the industry, I need you to become aware of it. I just need to find a way to communicate with you and create an educational channel that kind of meets you where you're at and where you say, man, we really could do this with our business, because there is so much low hanging fruit in our industry. I have been a member of the power sports industry. We're going to go on 40 years here real soon. 40 years that I have been interacting with the power sports industry. And with our team, with our web support, with the things that we've been able to bring and meld into what we do here at the Powersport Academy, it's surpassed the idea. And this isn't fake hype. It's not. If anything, there's been too much humility in the way that we've addressed what we've brought to the table. I'm not going to say partnering, but I tried associating with folks that ran motorcycle industry jobs, that ran other podcasts, that had their own like dealer lead programs, people that had service-oriented products and services that they sold to dealerships. I tried to kind of piggyback and partner with those folks to try and introduce the Powersport Academy to the dealerships at the level I expected the introduction to go. Let's be clear. When I first launched the Powersport Academy in 2020, officially, I literally thought I was going to have to beat dealers off with a stick. I had become somewhat known through Ducati as the North American trainer for Ducati. I had become somewhat known in the world of Suzuki by running the publications and training division at Suzuki here in America. And then after the layoffs at Suzuki, I had worked with BRP, and I was part of the quality service program that BRP had launched. We had written a lot of content together. We had worked on the program together, and I had serviced about 10 dealerships in that program temporarily as I launched the Powersport Academy out for consumption. My shock was, even with running stuff with Ducati, Suzuki, BRP, having some consultative input with folks at like Polaris and different organizations, I was shocked that dealers did not see the value in dealer direct training. Dealers, when I say dealers, I'm referring to people that own the dealerships. Dealers are still operating on some assumption that the OEMs are going to come in with some great training program that's going to be dealer focused. It's going to be made for them, and it's going to help them succeed somehow. That could not be furthest from the truth. As someone that worked at the OEM level for over a decade, I can tell you that when the OEM crafts training for a dealership, it's not for the sole purpose of edifying the dealer. It's for making sure the messaging and the initiatives that the OEM needs executed at the dealer level become executed. For instance, when I made the training for Ducati dealerships, we very much made the training to help Ducati dealers improve their parts and labor businesses. Absolutely. I'm not going to take that away from the program, but woven into that program was everything that we could think of that would help reduce buybacks for Ducati through the dealer interface. So if you think about that, you go, oh, so the main goal was to reduce buybacks. The main goal was not to help you sell more parts and labor. Yes, sell more parts and labor. That's a great side benefit. But if we could reduce buybacks at the corporate level, that would be the win that we would tell people at the corporate office, right? So you have to understand where the root goals come from and how those root goals expand themselves through the content. The Powersport Academy had the ability to abandon the OEM influence and say, if we focus on the dealer, if we just focus on the dealer as an independent business, how can we add the most value to that dealer? And you're going to be amazed. When I show you some things, I think you're going to be amazed. And when I say, let's launch this thing, this is going to be a broad stroke overview of what the Powersport Academy does. Going forward, this will become a full-blown podcast. We will have other service providers come in. We will have dealers that have been through the program join. We will have other people come and talk. Plus, I will give some really well-guided, informative screen shares and walks through some content so that even people that aren't part of the Powersports Academy will see the value added and get some knowledge from what we train here at the Powersport Academy. Folks, the way that I'm going to bring this to you, I need you to come open-minded. I need you to be aware of what we're working with. As a sidebar, I want to tell you that I am also a trainer in the marine industry for the Marine Retailers Association. And while power sports and marine are two completely different worlds, and I think this is important to say right up front, when you say, what makes Kurt different? What makes the Powersport Academy different? Why wouldn't I just take training from this guy, that guy, the other guy? Think back when Grant Cardone worked in the automotive industry only, and he worked with automotive sales professionals. Think back to that, okay? Why do you see, you could look at a job placement ad for BRP, and they'll specifically be looking for people with automotive experience. That is not what I'm looking to do with the Powersport Academy. I'm not looking to bring automotive ideologies to power sports because automotive doesn't run like power sports. They're immensely different. So while they are similar, they are immensely different. And I think it's very important that we draw that line. And right from the beginning, we say, let's launch this thing. Let's make some defined niche definitions, okay? Power sports is power sports. Period. If you are a power sports dealer and you sell agricultural and lawn equipment, that's a different blend. Some of what we teach here is definitely going to help you, but when it comes to your ag customers, that's going to be a little bit different. Let's say that you are a power sports company that sells personal watercraft. That's going to be a little bit different. Let's say you're a marine dealership, but you sell ATVs and UTVs as well. Well, that's going to be different too. Okay, so track with me here, and let's not get lost in too much minutia. The Power Sports Academy is focused on power sports. We're not mixing a bunch of things up here. So even though I have marine experience, automotive experience, and power sports experience, I'm trying to drive as much dealer focused content through the Powersport Academy as possible. Let's take a quick dive in, do a screen share here. I'm going to give you a bigger view of that. And let's do one thing different here. Let's take the image. Oh, can we change that? Yeah, we can make that smaller too. All right. So I'm giving you as much exposure on the webpage as possible here. Now, this is the Powersport Academy in the internet. This is what people see when they come in. Okay. Different organizations have custom courses. So if we go to the course catalog, you're going to see the ad hoc. You can buy one course at a time. You can buy multiple courses. You can become a member, all those things. But this is the main menu of what we are basically teaching at the Powersport Academy. And then we've got custom courses in the background that we resell to organizations and things like that. So bear with me. This is what our core curriculum looks like. And you might think some of it is a little bit odd, but there is a method to the madness. Now, this used to be a year's worth of training, but now with Dealer Hub, we've condensed it down to a 3-month certification deal. So, and we've reduced the price substantially if you're part of the 20 Club. So this is the way that Powersport Academy and the 20 Club are edifying each other. We're working with them on pricing and timeliness, and they're working with us on exposing us to their audience, right? So let's talk about how we talk about getting started. First thing's going to be getting started in service. So when we jump into this, it's all about getting started in service. You could be in this business for 20 years, and we're still going to have you take getting started in service. Guess what? If you're a salesperson at a dealership, I'm still going to have you take getting started in service. Why? Because we go into a bunch of details in getting started in service. So, we talk about how to use the academy. It's the first course. So we tell you how to use the academy. Then we talk about sales versus service. What's the difference in a personality of someone that's working in sales versus working in after sales? What are the different roles in service? Where would you fit in inside the service, environment? How do you know if you're going to fit in or not, right? How do you know if you're going to fit in? There are so many different people groups, and power sports is so diverse. You're going to fit in. So now it's just a matter of fit in where, right? Find your specific niche inside the dealership. How can I best prepare to enter the field? Well, take the course and find out how. How do I become a great service administrator? So a lot of what we train on in fixed operations training isn't necessarily from the technician standpoint. Remember, technicians have access to OEM training about how things come apart and go back together. Administrators get very little training and very little development. So we talk about how do I become a great service administrator? Now, when you're done with that course, you're going to go boom, right into phones and how to use them as an effective sales tool. What? How to answer the phone? Yeah, here's the deal. We visit a ton of dealerships through some of what we do with our dealer visits and our consulting and our training outside of these courses. And when we dive into how dealerships answer the phone, it is amazing how unprepared service administrators are to deal with the public. You might know everything there is about valve adjustments and stators and oil changes and oil filters and different viscosities of oil and when to service the chain and how to drain the differential. You might understand all of that. But when did someone give you communications training on how to interact with a customer appropriately, use good verbiage, good sales tracks, right? By tracks, I'm talking about verbiage. Words that you can put to a muscle memory to overcome objections with people. What are the 3 root causes to an objection? How do you get to the objection? How do you ask open-ended questions? How do you process the answer of an open-ended question? All of that starts to take its shape in this course, right? So, phone play basics, making the appointments, selling on voicemail and phone, owning a problem, finishing the sale by phone, right? How do we use the phone as an effective sales tool? You would be amazed when we secret shop a lot of dealerships. A lot of the dealerships, when we secret shop them and we say, "Hey, my Hayabusa is not running right," you'd be amazed at how many service professionals don't ask for a name, don't ask for an email, don't ask for a phone number to call you back, don't offer to make a service appointment, nothing. You start like spitballing with the customer and trying to like, well, have you tried a TPS? Have you tried a that is the last thing to do. Your job is to sell diagnostics. You sell parts and labor. So using the phone as a sales tool is one of the primary first steps that we do. So you got getting started in service, using the phone as a sales tool. Next, we talk about KPIs. What are KPIs? A KPI is a key performance indicator. So we run you through the different KPIs of running a business. How do you define a KPI? What do you do with a KPI? How do you analyze a KPI? How do you analyze the root cause of affecting a KPI? So we handle all that, right? So we take care of that, we knock that down. So now you're about halfway through the program and you have been able to say, do I belong in service? How do I use the dang phone properly? And what kind of issues would I track in business if I was worried about my business growing? So we go into that. Okay. Then we talk about how to build the right team, right? And that's all based on personality styles. And we dive into that pretty deeply. And now that you've got a team that you're building, you want to start focusing on this customer retention issue. One of the number one subjects of any OEM over the last half a decade has been customer retention. Now, I know that we said power sports is different than automotive, but if we were to sample some data from automotive, use that as a guideline for things. Currently, 2024, 77% of the people that buy a new car will never return to the dealership for service. Okay, 77% will never return to the dealer for service. That's a lot. That's a lot of people walking, right? So now the question is, how do we increase customer retention? I will tell you, when I was leaving Suzuki, it was the number one thing that the OEM in Japan was pushing. They were saying they were going to shoot for 100% customer retention and service post sale. Why? Just think about it. How much revenue is generated through parts distribution, right? And then if done well in service, if the relationship is maintained well in service, what are the chances that customer is going to recycle and become a new unit purchaser 3-4 years down the road? Pretty dang high if they have the maintained relationship with the selling dealer and they like the brand and the service experience. So customer retention is a big, big deal. But we're not talking about customer retention for the OEM. No, this is dealer focused. So when we go through this as a dealer, we're going to not only have content, we're going to have a little bit of, oh, hold on. What do we call it? Homework. We're going to have some homework where you actually say, how does a drive-by of my dealership look? How do I know if customers are welcome at my location or not? And there's things that we do here. There's the coursework, but there's also the exercises. And the exercises really shine the light on how welcoming is your dealership and what steps are you taking to drive customer retention. So now you've gotten started with service, you learned how to use the phone, you understand what indicators you're looking for in your business. You've started to build a great team using the right tools and the right analytics to build the right team. And you've really focused on customer retention, right? So if you've got customers coming through your sales floor, how do you maintain those relationships through parts and service? So we started to address all that. We should be seeing a really good internal culture shift by now. There's a reason why these courses are spaced out the way they are. There's a lot of science that goes into how these curriculums are built. What we're looking for is not only is the service administrator becoming more fine-tuned in how to do this job, but what we're really looking for is, are we driving internal culture in a positive direction within the business? Once we can establish that, then we can dive into the main course, which is fixed operations. Fixed operations is the hub of a motorcycle dealership. A lot of business owners want to say it's sales. A lot of business owners want to try and drive their business through the showroom. The showroom is logical. It makes sense. A lot of people go, "Oh yeah, it's that's the shiny object. That's the Bloomingdale's of my shopping mall. Sales is where I'm going to focus my efforts." I get it. I totally get it. But here's the deal. Let's talk real world. Customers, if done well, will see your service department 7 or 8 times as often as your sales department will. Service will have 7 to 800% more interactions with your customer than the sales department will. So if you think in those terms and you realize that the relationship with the customer needs to be maintained in order to have future sales, all of a sudden service has a newfound priority. Also, how much revenue are you generating through sales? $500 a unit, $1,000 a unit, $1,500 a unit. Everyone's got a different margin, right? Or average revenue per sale. Everyone's got a different version of that, depending on the brands, the product, there's so many variables. But if your service department is seeing that customer 7 to 8 times more than sales is, and they're able to generate a certain percentage of margin off of every ticket, how much revenue lifetime value are you generating from that customer through fixed operations? Probably more than you're generating through sales, especially if that interaction in sales nets additional units sold. So it's really important that we change our priorities. We refix our attention. Now, part of the reason I'm saying let's launch this thing and let's do it right this time is because I think it's really important that we drive back to, and let me put this back on the right screen. There we go. The economy. What's happening right now? How many units are sitting on lots? What does your floor plan look like right now? Is sales really kicking butt like you thought it was going to coming into 2024? No. The results have been lackluster across the board. We've got Harley Davidson dealerships shutting down across the country. We've got brands that have shut down production here in the United States for making new product. We are seeing things spin backwards a little bit. And when the economy spins backwards like this against a sales initiative, where do we often see a demand? That demand is going to come back through the service department. And if we don't prepare our dealerships to accept that increased demand through service, we're going to blow it. We're going to lose on that customer retention issue I was talking about. Remember, if we can keep a customer happy in service, when the economy starts to come back around and demand starts to go back up and our sales floor gets busier again, if we've done a good job in service, chances are we're going to retain that customer through the showroom. But if we blow it in service, we might blow it for the showroom later. So our priority should be, how sound is our service department? Now, here's the number one complaint. The number one excuse I get from dealer owners when it comes to training people through the Powersport Academy and making this investment. The number one thing that I get from dealers is, our service department is already busy. I got to tell you, that is some of the craziest logic I've ever heard. A lot of times they'll say, well, we're already backed up a week and a half, 2 weeks, or we've got a 3-week lead time to get into service. You need to understand this. The fixed operations training that we give, that sixth course that we give is how to overcome root cause objections, how to increase the number of line items per repair order, how to increase your average hours per RO, how to make sure that you are selling enough parts against your labor. Like, what is your parts and labor split? Remember, you're making margin on parts too, right? And so we cover all of that through this fixed operations training. Not only that, we have what we call the service sales funnel, where we talk about the importance of the order in which work is done in the shop. We talk about the importance of a dispatch process that will drive efficiency, productivity, and revenue. These are not the buzzwords for some reason that makes people excited. For some reason, people that own motorcycle dealerships, they want to hear about MSRP and wholesale and delivery and prep. And yeah, I'm saying a lot of things that have a lot to do with the sales department. For some reason, a lot of dealership owners just don't focus on service. And with our economic situation being the way it is out there and the way things are driving, we need to have service departments that can handle customers' demands. Boom. If your dealership is currently backed up 2 weeks, currently backed up 3 weeks, and you're saying things to me like, well, we're just so busy in service right now, I don't think we could sell more parts and labor. You need to take a look at those KPIs I was talking about. Because if your shop is running at 52% efficiency, you are losing a ton of money and a lot of low hanging fruit where you could not only make more money for yourself and for your business, but for your staff too. If you have technicians where their paychecks are up and down and up and down and up and down, you need this training for your staff, because if we can level out the paychecks for your technicians week over week and then start to see those leveled out checks slowly climb up, well, that's the answer that you're looking for, isn't it? And that's going to happen if you implement the processes we discuss in the fixed operations course. But those processes only ever get traction if the internal culture of your store is where it needs to be to make those types of changes. Now, here's the other thing that we talk about a lot in our training. And we're coming up on a half hour pretty soon, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick. If you get the internal culture right, especially thinking about fixed operations, if you get the internal culture right and efficiency and productivity pick up, now you've got the ability to make more customers happy at a higher level of performance. So maybe you go from that 53% efficiency and you start looking at 75, 80% efficiency. What's that look like on your bottom line? And what if you're taking in an extra 20% of vehicles to work on and selling an extra 15 to 20% per vehicle? You tracking me? Right? And your lead time stayed at 2 weeks. What if the lead time stayed the same, but we were able to get 10 pounds of potatoes out of your 5-pound bag? Your whole perception of what your service department will do will change. And we've seen it time and time and time again when we train people. I first started to see it when I was the training manager and we had the fixed operation management's course for Ducati. If you remember back then, it was 2011, 2010, when we launched that program with Ducati. Dealerships that participated in that, it was a voluntary program at the time. And under the Ducati branding, we were doing 2-day workshops. And some dealers after those 2-day workshops were reporting more than double their parts and labor output within months of taking that course, just a 2-day course. Now imagine you're in a 3-month example of that course and you're getting the opportunity to exchange ideas with cohorts of dealers and build up through this training. If you don't want to do the 20 club and you don't want to participate in the 3-month program, drive back to the Powersport Academy courses. Go look at powersportacademy.com, click on memberships, and you'll see what we have available for a la carte pricing. If you want to get access to the courses by themselves, we got a super affordable way to do that. If you want to have one-on-one coaching, we have a way to do that. If you want team coaching with your whole dealership, we have a way to do that. But the best deal is going to be to hook up with the folks at Hero Hub, become part of their 20 club, get into that 3-month program that we have instead of the annual program, condense the training and get certified in that 3-month program and get a heck of a discount to do so and get the bonus of being in the 20 club on top of it. That's the absolute best way to go. And like I said, Jared and the folks over at Dealer Hero, they're just amazing folks. And the program does awesome. So I can't drive this home hard enough. I'm saying we're launching this thing. Like, let's launch this thing. Let's be clear. Powersport Academy was launched 5 years ago. We're coming up on 6 years here real quick. After New Year's, it'll be 6 years. And so it's launched. It's been launched. It's established. We've run dealers through it. The results have been astounding. And I'm going to say it's probably my fault. Maybe a little false humility, right? Maybe a little, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard for making the best training in the country for power sports dealerships. But now that we have this, I'm going to call it a partnership, but now that we have this working relationship with Hero Hub, it has been really revealing to put dealers in a cohort fashion, groups of dealers, right? So we're saying, hey, we'll train the whole dealership. Bring all the people you want to these meetings, right? We have one dealership that's bringing 3 or 4 people into each session. That's totally cool, right? And so you've got staff in there, and you're giving out projects. You're saying, take pictures of this at the dealership. Send me this report. Send me 10 copies of your repair orders that I can take a look at and audit for you. Critique your repair orders and help you write better repair orders that will net you more revenue and happier customers. Like, we go through this whole process over 3 months, and the results have been amazing. I'm going to make more of this kind of content. I'm sure Jared's going to join me on future episodes. And I just really want to, whether you partake or not, I want to drive your knowledge, your priorities through fixed operations to understand that if we can make fixed operations smoother, better, more efficient, more profitable, by nature, they are going to interact more cleanly with sales, and they're going to interact more cleanly with parts. Imagine a sense of interdepartmental harmony inside your dealership as a whole that just makes sense. Like, it just makes sense. Like, we've all been to restaurants that suck, where the server's blaming the cook for things being late, and your drinks come with the, not mixed right, or the wrong ice cubes. You don't have a lemon, whatever, right? We've all been to those experiences, and those restaurants, they charge you a premium, and you're pissed, and you don't even like it. You never go back. Okay. We've also been to restaurants where you're greeted at the door, and you're seated efficiently, and you're served well, and the food is awesome. And the server comes out and says, oh, the chef was really proud of this. I hope you enjoyed it. And then, what would you like for dessert tonight? Like, we've all had those experiences where the restaurant is awesome. Why can't we have the same thing in power sports? Why can't we all drive to be the awesome restaurant experience where we're greeted properly? Things look great on the menu in the showroom with new product. And then the kitchen, the service department, is giving the best dishes, the best service possible to the customer. Why can't we be like that? We can. Join the Powersport Academy. See what we have for you. If you have any questions about this, look, let's just call this plain and simple as we see it. Okay. If you are like, hey, this sounds weird, Kurt, it doesn't even make any sense. See up here where it says, let's chat. You click on let's chat, and it's going to open up an appointment system for you. Oh, no, it's not. I'll have to fix that link. But click on let's chat, and you are going to come directly to me for an appointment. And we'll have a conversation about what are the possible net gains that you'll get by looking into the Powersport Academy. All right, folks, this has been fun. We're going to do this more and more often. We've got some social channels established, and we will start publishing this content on multiple channels moving forward. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday, and be productive, sell something, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.